So yesterday we have completed this discussion: random variables, introduction to random variables, discrete random variable, continuous random variable, probability distribution, and cumulative distribution functions and their properties, mathematical expectations. So today we'll be seeing probability distribution, which are special probability distribution called binomial, Poisson, normal, and sampling distribution of means. So these are the topics in unit 2. In unit 2, these are the topics: binomial, Poisson, normal, sampling distribution of means. So first special distribution is binomial distribution. Binomial distribution occurs whenever the experiment is a Bernoulli's experiment or Bernoulli's process. And if you want to qualify an experiment to be a Bernoulli's experiment, it has to satisfy certain conditions. Those conditions are: it should have a fixed number of trials. Okay, how many trials are performed in the experiment? You should be knowing. Okay, there are 10 trials, 15 trials, 100 trials, like that. And all these trials must be independent. Okay, so outcome of one trial is not going to affected by the earlier trials, or it is not going to affect the next trial. So each trial is having only two possible outcomes. Okay, one outcome, if you call it as success, its complement outcome is going to be called as a failure. Okay, so the probability of success in each trial is constant. Okay, so how many trials you perform, probability of success is always same, constant. That is generally denoted with the Q. Then the probability of failure is denoted with the Q. Okay, so P plus Q is going to be 1. And so if the experiment is a Bernoulli's experiment, we define a random variable as the number of successes out of n trials in a Bernoulli's experiment. Okay, so so in a Bernoulli experiment, the random variable is always defined in terms of the number of successes when there are n trials in the Bernoulli's experiment. So these number of successes obviously will vary from 0 to n, because when you are performing n trials, every trial may give you success. That means at most you can get n success, or every trial may give you failure. That means you may not have any success. Therefore the number of successes can vary from 0 to n. And its probability mass function. Okay, what do you mean by probability mass function? Probability that x taking the number of successes is given by f of x is equal. It is also denoted with this notation in binomial distribution: binomial of x number of successes out of n trials with probability of each success is equal to p. And its probability mass function is defined like this: ncx p power x q power n minus x. Okay, where q is nothing but 1 minus p, which is the probability of failure. Okay, so this x can vary from 0 to n. Okay, because x taking the value 0 to n. And you can see, because it is taking only from 0 to n, x is a discrete random variable. Whenever x is taking a finite number of values or countably infinite number of values, they are said to be discrete random variables. And its cumulative distribution is nothing but like this: probability that x is less than or equal to x means sum of the probabilities up to x. That means f of minimum value to up to x. Minimum value is 0, so f of 0 plus f of 1 plus and so on plus f of x. So I said you have a cumulative binomial distribution table. Using a cumulative binomial distribution table, you can identify the this cumulative probability. And if you want to find out a particular probability f of x, that can be taken, that can be obtained like this: sum of first x number of successes minus sum of x minus number of successes will give the probability that there are x number of successes. So this we have explained through the distribution table. So this was the distribution table we were talking about. Okay, so probability that x less than or equal to x. Okay, if you want f of 4 with probability 0.05, okay, these are the horizontal values or probability values. So this table is depending upon p, x and n. Okay, how many trials are performed, and you want probability for how many number of successes, and what is the probability of each success. Okay, so probability of success is, let us say, 0.05. Let us say there are 5 trials, and if you want the probability that there are 3 successes, so you see like this: for 5 trials, if you want 3 number of successes with probability with 0.05, means it is going to be 1. If you want only 1 number of success with probability 0.05, it is 0.9774. Okay, with 0.2, 0.2 probability, it is going to be 0.7373. So this is a cumulative probability. Please remember, this is a cumulative probability, and if you want to find out a particular probability, then use this formula: cumulative probability of x successes minus the cumulative probability of x minus 1 number of successes gives the x number of successes. You can use this distribution table to find out the probability that x taking the value x, this value. Okay, and after that we have done some problems on finding the binomial distribution. So one way of finding this probability is, I said, for a discrete random variable, so this inclusion or exclusion of the endpoints also matters. Okay, if less than or equal to means you have to include 2. Less than 2 less than x means 2 should not be included. So you can compute the probability, okay, individual probabilities using the using your calculators, and take all the sum of the values. Otherwise, you can use your distribution table, binomial distribution table, and copy the values. Okay, f of 6 minus 2 to 6 means what? 6 is inclusive, 2 is also inclusive. Therefore, you want successes from 2 to 6 means total number of 6 number of successes minus 1 number of success gives the success from 2 to 6. Okay, so you can compute the probability like this also using distribution table. Whereas you see here, 2 is not included, 6 is included. So you are from you want the number of success from 3 to 6. Therefore, 6 minus 2 gives 3 to 6, like this. And also we derived the formula for the expectation of a binomial random variable. This is a general formula for the expectation, and f of x is in binomial distribution is this one. And if you substitute the formula and make some minor modifications and simplifications like this, finally you will notice that expectation of a binomial random variable mu is equal to np. And we also derived the variance using this formula. Variance of x is formula is e of x square minus e of x whole square. E of x square definition is like this, and we subtracted and added. We did some modification. E of x is binomial mean, which is np. So after simplification, you notice that it is nothing but npq. So variance of a binomial random variable is npq. Therefore, standard deviation is going to be under root of variance, which is root npq. So I think I don't know whether I have written this or not. You make it as a note. Okay. So variance is npq, standard deviation is root npq. And after that, we did different problems on this binomial distribution. Okay, for all these problems, okay, p will be given. Okay, p will be given, n will be given, or you can find out p using p and so using p and n, you can find probability for any number of successes, whatever the problem is given. So in this problem, see, 2 number of heads, exactly 2 heads. In this case, x equal to 2, at least 4 heads. That means x greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so at least 4 heads means what? 4 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6, because the maximum number of trials is 6 only. So at least 4 means it is starting from 4 up to maximum. Maximum is 6. Okay, so like that we solved all these problems. After that, we have seen how to fit a binomial distribution to the table. I think here, somewhere here, right? To fit a binomial distribution, what we did, so we computed the statistical mean, okay, using this table. Statistical mean is sigma fi xi by sigma fi. Fi is this frequency, xi is this tabular values. So we computed this values, okay. So we got it as 1.28, and using 1.28 we computed probability of success, because we equated this with binomial mean, because we want to fit a binomial distribution, okay. Frequency distribution mean must be equal to binomial distribution mean. So we equated frequency distribution mean with the binomial distribution mean, with the n equal to 4. See here, n equal to 4, maximum number of x, highest value of x, okay. So we substitute n equal to 4 and we got p value. Once you have p, then using p and x and n, using p, x and n, you compute probability that x equal to 0, x equal to 1, x equal to 2, and so on, either using your calculator, ncx, p power x, q power n minus x. Okay, once p is 0.32, it is easy to find q, 1 minus p. Q is nothing but 1 minus p. So once you compute all these probabilities, you multiply each probability with the total frequency. Total frequency you got as how much it is, 92 some. Total frequency is how much? 92, 94, 97, 107, 100, 150, I guess. Total frequency is 150. So when you multiply each probability with 150, you will be getting the expected frequency. You multiply 150 with this probability, you will get the expected frequency. Multiply 150 with this probability, you will get the expected frequency. These are the observed frequencies, and these are the expected frequencies, and hence this is called a binomial. This is the binomial distribution, and this is the corresponding frequency distribution table. Okay, so fitting of the binomial distribution, that is. And after that, I think we have derived a recurrence relation for in a binomial distribution. You can obtain x plus number of successes binomial probability using current number of successes, x number of success binomial probability, like this. So this is a recurrence relation. What do you mean by recurrence relation? If you are expressing the present value, or if you are expressing the next value with the present value, or if you are expressing the present value with the previous values, that kind of relation is said to be a recurrence relation. Okay. So after that, we have seen Poisson distribution, and Poisson distribution occurs whenever you have the events are rare. Okay, that means probability of each success is very less, and there is no limit for the number of successes. Okay, instead of success, in Poisson distribution we call it as number of occurrences. Okay, so the number of occurrences may be more, but the probability of occurrence of an individual event may be very less, and there is no upper limit. As we discussed earlier, something like number of accidents, the number of telephone calls, or the number of patients arriving at an emergency hospital. So, where there is the minimum value can be 0, there may not be any patient at all, there may not be any phone accident, there may not be any phone call. So, the number of occurrences may start from 0, and we don't know exactly how many will come is going to occur. So there is no upper limit for it. So this distribution we apply when we know the average. If the average number of occurrences is known prior to the problem, okay. So if the average number of occurrences is denoted with lambda here, okay. So then probably that there are x number of occurrences with known average lambda is given by e power minus lambda into lambda power x by x factorial, x equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. and we just verified whether this is actually a probability mass function or not, because probability mass function quality is each value must be non-zero, non-negative, and sum of all the functional values must be 1. So because there is no upper limit, sum means it is going to be an infinite series. So when you add this and you will observe that this is an exponential series, so you notice that it is 1. So therefore we can call it as a probability mass function, and we derived some expectation of the probability distribution, Poisson distribution. So we derived that whatever the symbol you are talking, lambda, that is actually the mean of the Poisson distribution. Also we derived the formula for the variance of a Poisson distribution. This is the definition of variance, and this is the formula for the variance. And we got expression for E of x square, and mu is nothing but lambda. We already got it. So this we got it as lambda square plus lambda. So lambda square plus lambda minus lambda square is going to be lambda. So we observe that both the mean and variance of a Poisson distribution is same, lambda, and hence standard deviation is under root of variance is root lambda. And also we derived some recurrence formula for the Poisson distribution, like binomial distribution. We expressed x plus number of occurrences in terms of x number of occurrences as a recurrence relation. And we also have seen the cumulative probability distribution. Cumulative probability distribution for the Poisson distribution. So this also is obtained. This also can be seen here. So this is a Poisson distribution. Okay, with the known average lambda. Okay, if average is known, then you can find out if for cumulative probability for any number of occurrences. Suppose if you want to know for known average 0.7, and if you want sum of probabilities up to 4, it is going to be 0.992, 992. Okay, so like this you can with known average you can always find out the cumulative probability for any number of occurrences. Okay, so I said I talked about rare event, right? Okay, so Poisson distribution, we also proved that Poisson distribution is a limiting case of binomial distribution through the next theorem. The Poisson distribution is a limiting case of the binomial distribution with known average lambda equal to np. Okay, so for large values of n, if you observe that mu is constant, that means what, as n tending to infinity, p should tending to 0, then only this product is going to be constant. You can see here. So as n tends to infinity, p will tend to 0. So we proved that as n tends to infinity, this binomial distribution will become the Poisson distribution. Therefore, we have seen that Poisson distribution is a limiting case of the binomial distribution. And we did some problems on Poisson distribution. So in all these problems, lambda will be given. If lambda is not given, you can approximate that lambda with the binomial mean. What is binomial mean? NP. You can always approximate lambda equal to NP. So if n is up to 20, we can do binomial distribution related problems with binomial distribution using binomial distribution table. But if it is more than 20, you can approximate that binomial distribution problem with the Poisson distribution. Okay, so because for large values you can both binomial and Poisson distribution almost looks like same. So we have seen some problems where doing with the binomial distribution as well as Poisson distribution. See, this is a problem. Okay, So through binomial distribution, you can find out the probability. Through Poisson distribution also you can compute the same probability. Okay, method 1, method 2. Go through problem number 8. So after that we have seen I think we have seen fitting of Poisson distribution also, if I remember well. Yes. So again, fitting of Poisson distribution is similar to that of binomial distribution. So whenever a frequency distribution is given, first you find out the mean. So then you equate the mean with the Poisson mean. Poisson mean is lambda. So lambda equal to statistical mean. So by taking lambda equal to 1, you compute all the probabilities for x equal to 0, x equal to 1, and in this case up to x equal to 5, because the frequency distribution is given up to 5 only. So after finding all the probabilities, multiply each probability with the cumulative frequency. This total frequency is 400. So when you multiply 400 with each of these probabilities, you'll be getting the expected frequency. Okay, so this is the observed frequency 140 to 156 and so on, and 147 is going to be the expected frequency. So this is the process for fitting the Poisson distribution table. After that, I think we have seen normal distribution. Yes, the previous two distributions are discrete probability distributions, and the corresponding random variables are discrete random variables. Whereas normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution, because the random variable we are considering is a continuous random variable having the probability density function given by like this: 1 by sigma root 2 pi e power minus 1 by 20 sigma e power minus 1 by 20 x minus mu by sigma whole square, where x varies from minus to infinity. Initially we understood that sigma and mu are some symbols. For mu and sigma, for two parameters mu and sigma, for given parameters mu and sigma, this is how a density function is defined. Again, we verified whether this is actually can be called as density function or not. Density function should have these two properties. Okay, and it should be non-negative, and total integration must be 1. And using our techniques of integration, like multiple integral concepts, we proved that we observed that this integration is 1, and probably that x takes a value in between x1 to x2 is given by definite integral x1 to x2 f of x dx. F of x is nothing but the density function. I think there is a mistake here, right? What are the limits here? Limits must be x1 to x2, no? Because we're trying to find out the probability. Okay, so that's please make this correction in your notes. Okay, so probability that x1 less than x less than x2 is nothing but a definite integral x1 to x2 f of x. F of x is nothing but this function. Okay, so we have seen that its graph is a bell-shaped curve, because the function is defined like this for a particular value of mu and sigma. This graph is called a normal curve. We said this graph is a normal curve. It is a symmetric about x equal to mu. It is symmetric about x equal to mu. Okay, and it has inflection points at mu minus sigma and mu plus sigma, and it is having maxima at x equal to mu. Okay, inflection points means where the concavity changes from downwards to upwards and so on, and x-axis is asymptote. I said x-axis is asymptote, and it is unimodal. That means mean equal to mode equal to median, and the total area under the normal curve is going to be 1. Okay, so all these properties we observed from the graph of the normal distribution, which is called as normal curve. Okay, so and we have seen the percentage of the area. Okay, so we have seen that okay, in mu minus sigma to mu plus sigma, almost 68% of the area will be covered, whereas mu minus 2 sigma to mu plus 2 sigma will be almost 90 percentage. Okay, those percentages are written here clearly. Almost 99% of the area, 99.99% of the area will be in between mu minus 3 sigma to mu plus 3 sigma. Okay, so this is how we compute the this is the actual way definition. This is the actual formula for the computing the normal probability. But in this way of finding the probability is very difficult because it involves integration. So to avoid integration, we took a transformation, because I said there will be infinitely many normal curves. When you change mu, you will have one normal curve like this, another normal curve like this, another normal curve like this. So there will be infinitely many normal curves. So we standardized all those normal curves using this transformation z equal x minus mu by sigma. Okay, so then instead of finding the probability from x1 to x2, we computed the probability from z1 to z2 using this transformation. Using this transformation, this is reduced to like this, and you have a standard normal distribution table. Using standard normal distribution table, we computed these normal probabilities. Okay, so we derived expectation and variance of this standard normal distribution. Okay, so we observed that for a standard normal distribution, mean is always 0 and variance is always 1. Okay, so this is a standard. This is a way of computing the standard normal probability. So normal probability will be converted to standard normal probability, and we have seen different kinds of problems, and but in particular we have seen how to compute a normal distribution, normal probability using the normal tables. As we have seen through the distribution table. Okay, the normal distribution table gives the area from 0 to z only. So z has value up to 2 decimals. First decimal will be in the column, second decimal will be in the row. Suppose if I say 0.34, 0.34 you have to see like this. 0.3 is in the row, 0.34 I said. 4 you have to see, 4 is the second decimal, 0.34, 4 is second decimal you have to see horizontally. First decimal you have to see vertically. So 0.34 means this one 0.1331. Okay, so if this is 0.34, okay, the area from 0 to 0.34 is going to be given by 0.1331. Because this curve is symmetric about mu equal to 0, left half area is 0.5, total right half area is also 0.5. So if I say, if I can find out this area, then you can find out this tail area also, because this total area is 0.5. If you want this tail area, you subtract this area from 0.5, you subtract this area from the 0.5, then you will get the tail area. Similarly, if you want this kind of areas, using symmetry, you convert area in the left hand side to right hand side and compute the area on the right hand side using this technique. Then give the probabilities. Okay, so we have seen different kinds of problems like this. If you want to find the area from minus 1.2 to 2.4, that can be splitted as minus 1.20 plus to 0 plus 0 to 2.4. 0 to 2.4, 0 to 2.4 can be computed with normal distribution. See, 2.4 means what? 2.40. 2.40 is here. 2.40, 0.4918. 0.4918, and minus 1.20, minus 1.20 can be converted to 0 to 1.2 using symmetry. So minus 1.20 is converted into 0 to 1.2. 1.2 is nothing but 1.20 only. So using distribution table, we can compute 1.20 value. 1.20 is here. 1.20, 0 is here. First decimal. Okay, 1.20, 0.3849. So 0.3849 I substituted here. So sum of these two values is going to be the area between minus 1.2 to 2.4. Area between minus 1.2 to 2.4 is nothing but the probability that x taking the value, z taking the value from minus 1.2 to 2.4. Okay. So in a similar manner, remaining cases also, if you want to find out this area, that is nothing but 0 to 1.87 minus 0 to 1.23. So difference of these two areas will give the area between these two. So like this, using your graphical understanding, okay, you can compute all these normal probabilities. Okay, so these are all different. Tell me.
Sir, will not be having distribution table in exam now, sir. We have to solve that.
No, you have to carry the distribution tables.
Okay, sir.
You are allowed to carry the distribution tables. Binomial distribution, Poisson distribution, and normal distribution. You take the printout and be ready with the exam.
Okay, sir.
In the external examination, they will supply the distribution tables.
Okay, sir.
In our college, people will supply the distribution tables. Okay. Okay. So so you just go through this problem. This is very important. If you understand all these cases, I think remaining problems on normal distribution can be understood easily. So these are all different kinds of problems. In all these problems, what we did, we computed the normal score into the standard scores using the transformation z equal x minus mu by sigma, and then using your graphical understanding, we compute all these probabilities. Okay. So why this untitled page? Okay, so after that we have seen fitting of normal distribution also. So for this fitting of normal distribution, because this is a grouped frequency distribution. This is a grouped frequency distribution, and this is a long problem actually. Okay, so we have written in row wise. This class intervals we have written in column wise. These are the observed frequencies, and here we have written midpoint of the class interval, and then we multiplied fi into xi. So then we computed this mean using this formula sigma fi into xi by total frequency. Okay, and that is 67.45, and remaining things we did for computing the variance. Variance formula is sigma fi into xi minus mu by sigma whole square. Okay, this is n, capital N. Okay. Okay, so for that we computed some more columns. So then if you copy those values and simplify, you will get the variance like this. So we equated this statistical mean. We equated the statistical mean and statistical variance. Mean, and these are the mean and variance obtained through frequency distribution. We equated those mean and variance with to the mean and variance of the normal distribution. Okay, we took this. These are the mean and variance of the standard normal distribution, and we took it as a, actually normal distribution is a continuous probability distribution. Its graph is going to be curve, but here we are given some frequency distribution given like this. Okay, so we are approximating this distribution with some normal distribution like this. Okay, so again, what is this? Okay, so we did all those probabilities. We computed all the probabilities like this. Probability that x lies in between 59.5 to 62.5. Probability that x lies in between 62.5 to 65.5. So we did like this. We made a continuity correction. If you remember, I told you to make a continuity correction of 0.5. Okay, so for lower limit, from lower limit you subtract 0.5 for upper limit, you add 0.5 I said. So instead of finding the probability from 60 to 62, I told you to compute from 59.5 to 62.5. I told that will give the more accurate value. Again from 63, if you subtract 0.5, it will become again 62.5. So that these distributions will be neck to neck. Okay. Then you approximate this with a normal distribution I said. Okay. So we prepared a table. Okay, though I think we did all those calculations. And I think I copied all these values with your calculations. Okay. So after finding the probabilities, we multiplied each probability with the total frequency. Then you got the expected frequency. Okay. And we can also approximate normal distribution. You can also approximate the binomial or Poisson distribution with normal distribution. So these are some problems where you can distribute. You can though these problems can be done with binomial distribution, and this same problem can be done approximated with a normal distribution also. Okay, so we have seen different cases here. Just to go through it. Okay, so we proved that the total area is under the standard normal curve is 1. So this requires a certain amount of integration. So we took main thing is this, we took this as a transformation and we changed the variables, and using multiple integral concept we observed that this is going to be root pi by 2. I think that derivation I have shown in the next page. Here I have shown this derivation also using multiple integral concept. Okay, so I copied this value I equal root pi by 2 in the previous page. Okay, and shown this as 1. Okay, also we derived the mean and variance of the mean formula is integral. Instead of sigma you will have integration sigma x into f of x. Okay, so that is so again in substitution method we proved that mean of expectation of x is mu, and we also proved that variance of this normal distribution is going to be. So initially I said these two are parameters, and later now we are proving that these parameters are actually the mean and variance of the normal distribution. Okay, so this is the variance we derived. So you obtained this as sigma square. So standard deviation is under root of variance is sigma. Okay, so I just today you just go through these three special probability distribution, namely binomial, Poisson and normal distributions. In the next class we will see this sampling distribution of means and the theory of estimation, so that your 2.5 units revision class will be over. See, in today's class we discussed about binomial, Poisson and normal distribution. What is remaining is a sampling distribution of means followed by small discussion on the theory of estimation. Is it okay?
Sir, in exams will get derivatives.